One of the most powerful and beloved stories that Jesus told is the parable of the prodigal son. This story, found in the Gospel of Luke, Luke 15:11-32, is rich with meaning and captures the themes of forgiveness, redemption, and the unconditional love of God. Once there was a man who had 2 sons. The younger son was restless and unhappy at home. He wanted to experience life beyond the confines of his father's house. So one day, he went to his father and asked for his share of the inheritance. In that culture, asking for an inheritance while the father was still alive was like saying, "I wish you were dead." But the father, though saddened, agreed and divided his property between his 2 sons. The younger son gathered all his belongings and left for a distant country. There, he lived a reckless life, spending all his money on wild living, parties, and pleasures. He thought he was free, living the life he always dreamed of, but soon his money ran out. At the same time, a severe famine hit the country, and the young man found himself in desperate need. He had no money, no food, and no friends to help him. In his desperation, he took a job feeding pigs. For a Jewish man, this was the lowest of the low, as pigs were considered unclean animals. He was so hungry that he even longed to eat the food he was giving to the pigs. As he sat there in the mud, dirty, hungry, and broken, the young man came to his senses. He realized that even the servants in his father's house had more than enough food to eat, while he was starving to death. He thought to himself, "I will go back to my father and say, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.'" With a humble heart, the young man got up and began the long journey home. He had no idea how his father would react. Would his father reject him? Would he be angry? But he knew he had no other choice. As the young man approached his home, his father saw him from a distance. Filled with compassion, the father ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son began his prepared speech. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But before he could say more, the father called to his servants, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." And so they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older brother was out in the field working. When he came near the house and heard the music and dancing, he asked one of the servants what was going on. "Your brother has come home," the servant replied, "and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." The older brother was angry and refused to go in. His father came out and pleaded with him, but the older brother said, "Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him." The father looked at his older son with love and understanding. "My son," he said, "you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." This parable has been interpreted in many ways, but its central message is about the boundless love and mercy of God. The father in the story represents God, who is always ready to forgive and welcome back his children, no matter how far they have strayed. The younger son represents those who turn away from God, seeking fulfillment in the wrong places. When they realize their mistakes and return to God, they find His arms open wide, ready to forgive and restore. This story teaches that no matter how far we may wander, God's love is always waiting for us. It reminds us to celebrate the return of those who have strayed and to rejoice in the mercy and grace that God offers to all His children.